2025 gave us some incredible titles across all genres, so let's skip the talk and get straight to the top 25 games that players themselves rated the highest, not just the critics. Of course, every real Game of the Year contender is here. What's up, guys? It's Broz, and here we go. So let's kick things off with one of the biggest contenders for Game of the Year. April 2025 brought us Clair Obscur Expedition 33. A beautiful turn-based RPG that immediately became a massive commercial success. You might remember the early controversy surrounding the developers Sandfall Interactive, who faced a lot of noise simply because of the makeup of their team. The studio's head stated that most of the team were junior specialists. While key hires were found in unconventional ways, the composer was discovered on SoundCloud, and the lead writer joined after originally auditioning for a voice acting role. In addition, the studio was targeted by allegations in social media claiming they refused to hire non-European or non-French personnel. But here's the key takeaway. None of that nonsense mattered to gamers when the final product dropped. The game quietly topped 4.4 million sales by October, silencing critics and showing exactly what players prioritize: quality gameplay. It's a testament to the fact that gamers vote with their wallets, and they voted hard for this game's innovative take on the JRPG formula. Expedition 33's biggest win is the combat. It forces you to perfectly time your defensive moves to survive, mixing classic turn-based strategy with a crucial active time mechanic. Heartbreaking soundtracks and visual style inspired by 19th century French Romanticism is stunning, but it's the high-stakes, fast-paced fighting that made people stick around and recommend it to everyone they know. Hades 2 didn't just meet expectations, it set a new bar for the roguelite genre. The game is sitting pretty with perfect 10/10 scores from places like IGN and GameSpot, with critics saying it surpasses the original in almost every meaningful way. The secret sauce is how Supergiant Games solved the biggest problem in roguelites: the grind. In this sequel, the repetition, dying, and starting over is literally the thematic engine of the entire story. Every failure, every return to the crossroads with Melano, our heroine, serves a deep narrative purpose, pulling you further into the drama of the gods and their epic failures. For veterans of the first game, this makes the loop feel less like a mechanical necessity and more like a crucial part of world building, which is huge. The base building features are also enriched, giving you more meaningful downtime between runs. Plus, Melano's personal quest is inextricably linked to the previous hero Zagreus, adding a layer of narrative payoff for those who invested in the first game. This brilliant design choice, turning a genre weakness into a strength, is exactly why Hades 2 earned its status as a masterpiece. Schedule 1 hit early access in March and became an immediate viral hit because it's a genius mashup of genres you wouldn't expect. At its core, it's a deep crime simulator focused on managing drug manufacturing and distribution, buying up real estate, and fighting rival cartels. Sounds dark, right? But the unique hook is that it wraps all this intense criminal activity in surprisingly cozy management and automation mechanics. It's the game for those of us who love factory builders and optimization but want a twisted narrative layer. This experience can be described as an absolutely terrible human in the comfiest way possible. The gameplay satisfies that deep automation itch, letting you meticulously level up your enterprise, optimize complex production chains, and expand your criminal real estate empire. The tension between the dark setting and the satisfying clean loop of management is what makes Schedule 1 so addictive. Even in early access, the game gives you plenty of content to sink 40 hours into. Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist arrived in January, instantly setting the standard for 2025 Metroidvanias. As the sequel to the highly praised Ender Lilies, developers faced immense pressure, but they achieved a rare feat: a follow-up that actively improves on the original's minor issues while perfectly retaining its unique magic. The sequel is a masterclass in balance, feeling both excitingly fresh and comfortably familiar. Its haunting, melancholic art style and incredible soundtrack are all enhanced, but the biggest win is the combat system. It's built around mastering spirits summoned from defeated foes, and the entire system feels significantly more fluid and responsive in this iteration. The exploration component is expanded, offering more intricate world design and secrets for dedicated players to uncover. For the hardcore fanbase, this refinement was key. The developers avoided the trap of making a safe, repetitive sequel, delivering a distinctly deeper experience. This approach, respecting the original's soul while refining every mechanical aspect, is precisely why the community instantly crowned it a landmark title for the genre in 2025. Death Stranding 2 on the Beach hit PS5 in June, and while the core delivery loop is intact, the game is getting huge praise for its technological leap. This title feels like the fully realized vision of the franchise, delivering a significant upgrade over the original in nearly every technical metric. Biggest wins are fidelity and environment. Running on the Decima engine, the graphics are insane, creating super realistic landscapes and character models, especially in the newly featured areas like Mexico and Australia. But what truly elevates the experience is the audio design. Kojima Productions made great use of current-gen technology, utilizing 3D audio to make the environments, enemies, and even Sam's equipment feel physically present and fully immersive. The incremental upgrades in movement, driving, and combat mechanics all build up to a significant improvement in the final product. It avoids feeling like a mere expansion, instead presenting itself as a complete package that harnesses the PS5 hardware to its full potential. This dedication to quality helped the game rightfully earn very high scores, as industry analysts now project total sales have reached 2.5 million units by the end of October. And of course, this is another Game of the Year contender. Back to the Dawn is a unique pixel art RPG that landed in July, putting you behind bars as a Fox journalist framed for a crime he didn't commit. Besides the Fox, you can also play as Bob the Panther, an undercover agent searching for a notorious criminal. The reason it exploded in popularity is its strange but brilliant genre blend. It takes the grittiness of a prison survival simulator and injects doses of Lovecraftian horror, madness, and despair. You deal with gang politics and the harsh reality of cell life, while simultaneously battling your own sanity and ghostly encounters. The developers consulted extensively with Carrie Blakener, a real-life reporter who was formerly incarcerated. Consulting with experts ensured the details like the ins and outs of prison currency, how to join a gang, and why you should never share your parole date with other inmates are authentic to the actual experience. Such dedication to realism, layered with high strangeness, creates a deep, unforgettable narrative experience. The game manages to be both a surprisingly charming RPG and a brutally honest look at incarceration, which is a tightrope walk few games can pull off. Dynasty Warriors Origins dropped in January, and it quickly proved to be the triumphant return veterans of the Musou genre had been waiting for. For years, longtime fans felt the series had become stale, relying too much on mindless grinding. Koei Tecmo fixed that. They delivered a much stronger narrative, covering the early events of the Three Kingdoms with over 30 detailed missions, offering a deep introduction even for newcomers. But the key feature that redefined the gameplay loop is the introduction of special challenges within missions. These challenges go beyond the simple kill everything. You might get a strict time limit, or the requirement to defeat a specific combination of officers, and completing them grants significantly higher tiers of rewards. This genius move transforms the monotonous grind into a meaningful strategic choice, forcing veterans to replay missions with purpose and efficiency. It's no longer just about taking down hundreds of opponents at once, it's about how you take them down. Origins successfully balanced the series' classic action with smart strategic depth, earning its place as one of the most celebrated entries in the franchise. I know many people were hating this game before release, and maybe some still are, but it's hard to argue that Ghost of Yotei didn't completely knock it out of the park, earning huge critical and player scores. The key reason is quality. The game made back its $60 million development budget in just one day after launch. This massive financial triumph shows that gamers voted with their wallets for the product, not the controversy. So why the high scores? Ghost of Yotei currently holds a 4.81 overall rating on the PS Store compared to Tsushima's 4.6, because Sucker Punch perfected the core experience. The new protagonist Atsu is a vigilante driven by revenge who deliberately abandons the code of honor, giving the developers a narrative reason to go all in on expanded stealth and ghost weapon mechanics. The combat is flawless. Many reviewers call it 10 out of 10, and the PS5 technology is fully utilized, creating one of the year's best-looking games with superb volumetric effects and detail. This is an iterative upgrade done right, proving that a technically perfect and mechanically refined sequel is exactly what the audience wanted. Supermarket Simulator hit its 1.0 release in June, and the most impressive fact about this massive hit is that it was essentially the passion project of one developer, Nocta Games. This is a deep micromanagement game where you handle everything. Real-time price setting based on the market, managing stock, optimizing shelf placement, and even personally delivering online orders. The unique hook that made it a viral phenomenon, however, is the crime element. You have to actively fight shoplifters using security cameras and guards, adding a level of unexpected tension to the cozy sim genre. But the feature that truly earned it love from the player base is the 4-player co-op mode. Running a store alone means tedious work like restocking shelves and cleaning floors. The co-op instantly solves that problem, transforming monotonous tasks into a chaotic social experience. It turned the game from a niche, deep simulation into a social hub, proving that teamwork is indeed the key to maximizing profits and fending off those sneaky thieves. The single dev triumph plus the co-op dynamic is why this title has consistently sat at the top of the Steam charts all year. Warhorse Studios delivered on their promise with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 in February, doubling down on the hardcore historical authenticity and simulation that defined the first game. The map is sprawling, the cinematics are gorgeous, and the choices truly shape Henry's destiny. But the one feature that perfectly addresses the biggest critique of the original, the impossibly high barrier to entry, is their refined combat system. The developers consciously walked a tightrope, ensuring that realism should never become a burden. They achieved this by creating 2 distinct paths for combat mastery. If you're a new player, or just want a quicker path to domination, grabbing a mace allows you to bash your way through the enemy lines without thinking much of tricks and combos. However, if you're a veteran seeking the highest depth and finesse, the longsword offers the sophisticated, difficult, and full simulation experience. This design philosophy means the game is easy to pick up, but impossibly deep to master. It's a genius compromise that finally made the franchise accessible without sacrificing its famously hardcore soul, earning it universal praise from the RPG community. Rooftops and Alleys, the parkour game, had its full release in June, and it quickly became the definitive simulator for those who respect the difficulty of the discipline. This isn't an Assassin's Creed free-run experience. The controls are excellent, but the learning curve is notoriously steep. The thing that made it a viral hit is the brilliant physics engine. Whenever you mess up a jump or overshoot a trick, your character collapses into a hilarious meme physics ragdoll, flopping around on the ground. It turns failure into comedy gold, which is fantastic for content creation. For those chasing high scores, the game actually punishes flashy improvisation. The combo meter constantly gives you less time to perform the next trick the higher your score climbs, meaning that for serious progression, you are incentivized to use the same highly efficient moves repeatedly, rather than trying complex improvised chains. This counterintuitive scoring mechanic is exactly what separates the casual players from the hardcore leaderboard chasers. It features an online mode where you can explore and play simple games like tag with friends, but the high skill ceiling is where the real value lies. Hollow Knight Silksong finally landed in September to massive acclaim. Its 91 Metacritic score and 270,000 overwhelmingly positive Steam reviews represent a huge win for Team Cherry, the 3-person studio. The game's commercial triumph was fueled by an incredible value proposition. The title launched with a monumental amount of content for only $20, establishing a new, impossibly high standard for the entire indie market. This title is a mechanical marvel. It began life as a simple DLC, but the developers scrapped that to create the new world of Fartloom, specifically designed to fit Hornet's dynamic vertical movement. A beautiful world of gilded cities and misted moors is teeming with 48 bosses in total, including 30 optional ones to hunt down. The atmosphere is further enhanced by an orchestral score from the award-winning composer Christopher Larkin, who delivered melancholic melodies and heart-thumping boss themes. This blend of technical polish, massive content scale, and low price point is why Silksong achieved a monumental launch, hitting 3.2 million Steam sales and 1.5 million downloads via Xbox Game Pass alone. R.E.P.O became an overnight phenomenon in early access in February. Many immediately labeled it a lethal company clone. But the developers at Semiwork quickly shared the insider story. The game was originally a solo horror game about cleaning a haunted mansion. They only found their unique direction when they started playing around and added the flaccid-headed characters and their signature goofy physics, realizing the accidental comedy gold was the true hit. Now here's the key reason it went viral. The core loop is all about tense cooperative loot extraction and horror, putting you in the boots of disposable grunts fetching precious objects while hiding from monsters and hollering over voice chat. That all-or-nothing survival tension mixed with chaotic fun is the perfect combination for virality. The devs' priority moving forward is to build a massive metagame around the lore. They stated there is a ton of lore they haven't made public yet, and all the questions about the world will be answered, but only if the players put in the effort to search and puzzle the pieces together themselves. Hazelight Studios, the masters of the co-op experience, perfected their formula with Split Fiction in March. Hailed as the ultimate evolution of It Takes Two, this split-screen adventure is built on one simple principle: constant, mind-blowing mechanical variety. The game follows two mismatched heroes, Mio and Zoe, whose paths alternate wildly between high-concept sci-fi worlds and classic fantasy realms. In Split Fiction, the core abilities and rules literally change in every single level. You might be navigating a zero-gravity puzzle 1 minute and coordinating a sword and sorcery boss fight the next. This guarantees that the gameplay never feels stale and requires continuous, perfect synchronization and communication between the two players. It's a true cooperative adventure that avoids the lazy mistake of reusing mechanics simply because they worked once. The game forces you and your partner to constantly adapt and communicate in real time. This focus on unparalleled, ever-changing mechanics and a challenging coordination requirement is why many are already calling it the frontrunner for Co-op Game of the Year. AI Limit dropped in March and immediately stood out in the crowded Souls-like genre with two major hooks. First, its visual style is a bold mix. Realistic, desolate, post-apocalyptic environments are beautifully contrasted with cel-shaded anime characters. Second, the setting itself flips the genre's biggest cliché. While most wastelands are overgrown by nature, here the world is unique because plants went extinct due to the AI crisis, which creates a desolate, almost sterile environment. But for veterans looking for the true challenge, the unique combat system is the main draw. The developers intentionally moved away from simple Dark Souls imitation, shifting the core focus to mastering two distinct mechanics: the sync rate and the spell frame. If you want to truly excel and survive against the varied bosses and enemies, of which there are over 20 weapon types to master, you must learn the rhythm of these new systems. It's not enough to simply parry and dodge. AI Limit is proof that even in a highly saturated genre, innovation in core combat rhythm and clever world building can create a must-play experience that feels completely fresh. Abiotic Factor had its full release in July and quickly became the go-to cooperative survival experience of the summer. The premise is great. You're a group of scientists trapped in a massive, multi-dimensional research building, fighting off otherworldly creatures and scientific experiments gone wrong. While you can absolutely play it solo, the developers confirm that the real fun is in the 6-player co-op mode, which is the perfect social hub for surviving the apocalypse. Critically important for groups, the game supports cross-play between PC and consoles using a simple lobby code system. This seamless integration immediately made it a popular choice for gamers on different platforms who want to survive together. The devs explicitly advised the community to go in blind, claiming the joy is in the discovery, much like a real scientific endeavor. The game's unique charm comes from its mix of horror, intrigue, and humor. You need to meticulously level up skills like cooking to prepare proper meals, adding a depth of simulation that hardcore survival fans appreciate. Stick It to the Stickman hit early access in August and became an instant budget hit. It's a hilarious, chaotic beat-em-up where you literally punch and kick your way up a corporate ladder. The game is constantly praised for its simple, clean visual style and loud, satisfying slapstick audio. Although it looks like a goofy meme game, some reviewers are calling it a John Wick simulator that surprisingly pulls mechanics from the heavy hitters Sifu and Max Payne. It's packed with clever upgrades and pitch-perfect humor, making the chaotic energy consistently high. While critics acknowledge the early levels felt a bit like an overstretched tech demo at launch, the key to its success is the developer commitment. The game doesn't pretend to have tactical depth or finesse. It knows exactly what it wants to do: deliver pure, unadulterated chaos. And it executes it very well. With constant new features being added by the developers, the community agrees this title is an absolute riot and one of the best budget buys of the year. The full release of Tokyo Xtreme Racer in September was a massive win for racing veterans. This isn't another open-world live service title, it's a brilliant, refreshing rejection of that trend. The core formula is deliberately simple, straight from the Shudoku battle playbook: drive, challenge a rival, beat them, earn cash, and repeat. But don't mistake simplicity for shallowness. The deep strategic layer that keeps the hardcore engaged is the oil and water cooling system. If your tuned-up streetcar overheats, its performance drops drastically, forcing you to slow down and use the autopilot feature tactically to cool the engine. This system transforms races from pure arcade blasts into strategic endurance runs, where managing your heat is just as important as managing your corners. This is what separates the casual drivers from the real Wangan veterans. On a side note for the JDM heads, while the car list is fantastic, featuring all the Nissan GT-Rs and RX-7s, there was one glaring omission at launch. No Honda cars were available, likely due to licensing issues. Despite that absence, the game delivered on its promise of pure, unadulterated midnight racing action. Absolum dropped in early October, and it was the dream team-up many gamers had waited for. The game is the product of a legendary collaboration between Dotemu, the studio behind the revival of Streets of Rage 4, Guard Crush games, and Supamox. This partnership's mission was simple: fix the biggest problem with the classic beat-em-up genre, which is long-term replayability. They achieved this by fusing fast, fluid, side-scrolling combat, which Dotemu guarantees, with genuine strategic roguelite depth. This is not just a beat-em-up with random power-ups, it's a deep, challenging roguelite where your choices profoundly affect your run. The combat is crisp, violent, and satisfying, exactly what you expect from the team that perfected the modern beat-em-up. An important detail for old-school gamers: the game supports local co-op, which immediately elevates it into a perfect, couch-based social experience. By injecting the replay value and strategic depth of the roguelite genre into a perfectly tuned side-scroller, Absolum has established itself as the new standard for the genre, proving that the classic formula can still evolve. My Summer Car finally hit its full release in January 2025, wrapping up an astonishing 8-year journey in early access. This game is not for the faint of heart, it is the ultimate, uncompromising simulator. You start with hundreds of loose parts, and must meticulously assemble not just your car, but also your engine, bolt by bolt, all while managing your own survival with beer, sausages, and sleep. The game actively punishes mistakes with permanent death, instantly ending your entire run. Its success proves that gamers deeply appreciate simulators that refuse to hold your hand. For years, the game had a reputation for being buggy, running on the Unity engine. However, the hardcore community strongly defends it, claiming that the bugs are overblown and that after playing for a while, you actually get a feel for what Unity likes to do and can master the engine's quirks. My Summer Car is a testament to the power of niche, befitting only those with severe car fever. Escape from Duckov dropped in mid-October, and if the title sounds familiar, it's on purpose. This top-down looter shooter takes the notoriously complex mechanics of games like Tarkov and wraps them in a completely non-serious, charming duck setting. You play as a feathered prisoner in the chaotic city of Duckov, trying to earn your freedom by going on dangerous missions for others. The juxtaposition is brilliant. You are managing complex inventory and fighting intense gun battles, but all your enemies are adorable, heavily armed birds. The core loop, as the developers described it, is simple: loot, escape, and build to become the ultimate bird soldier. Partnering with the major publisher Bilibili, the developers have solid backing for long-term content, which is crucial for any loot-focused title. For gamers, this is a fresh entry into the looter shooter genre, offering a less stressful, or at least more humorous aesthetic for a genre known for its high-stress environment. Look Outside is a tight, dense horror experience that launched in March and exploded in popularity after starting as a Game Jam submission, created in just 1 month. Its success stems from a refusal to stick to one genre. This is a compelling hybrid that combines the deep, tense systems of survival horror resource gathering. Think meticulously managing your inventory and scavenging for limited supplies with a turn-based combat system. This combination is less common, but highly engaging, forcing players to be tactical both in and out of combat. The core premise locks you inside a 4-story apartment building for 15 into game days while a strange, worldwide phenomenon outside begins transforming anyone who sees it into grotesque monsters. Horror aesthetic is also brilliantly handled. The game knows when to show the monsters outright, but it often leaves the true grotesqueness to the player's imagination, which is a far more effective form of terror. Peak launched in June and instantly became the go-to co-op roguelike for climbing and survival. The central idea is strikingly straightforward. You and up to 3 friends are lost nature scouts who must scale a dangerous, procedurally generated mountain to be rescued from a mysterious island. The major hook is the extreme difficulty and the ever-changing landscape. The entire island map rotates every 24 hours, forcing you to master new biomes and learn fresh routes daily. The gameplay is a tense blend of climbing mechanics and survival management, where the slightest mistake can spell doom. You must constantly manage stamina, grab and boost your teammates, and use collected survival items like climbing spikes and the mysterious anti-rope to press your advantage. This ruthless difficulty combined with the daily randomized map is exactly what the hardcore community loves, as it turns survival into a competitive ritual. It challenges your mastery every single day against biomes ranging from easy beaches to notoriously difficult crazy poison vine tropics. The full release of Door Kickers 2 on February 10th finally put an end to its 4-year early access journey. This is pure, uncompromised tactical warfare. You command a small special forces squad, planning intricate top-down breaches into compounds in Middle Eastern war zones. It's for the player who understands the difference between a flashbang and a sting grenade. The ratings are phenomenal because the game successfully captures the brutal realism of complex room-clearing operations. The developers Killhouse Games were notoriously slow to update during early access because they were focused on one thing: a massive, polished launch. That patience paid off. Even 8 months later, the core player base has tripled compared to pre-release, and the community is running wild. The true replayability machine is the Steam Workshop, now loaded with over 8,500 user-made tactical maps. This endless supply of content is the real secret behind the game's longevity. Dispatch dropped on October 22nd, and it immediately proved why the player base was so excited. This is a premium interactive narrative drama, a dark, adult superhero story where you play as a former hero who now works as a dispatcher, guiding a team of lovable screw-ups and ex-criminals through dangerous missions. You are the decision-maker in a world where your choices truly branch the story. The high ratings are a direct result of the talent behind it. The studio was founded by veterans from Telltale Games and Night School Studio, which is why the writing and plot branching are top-notch. However, the release structure caused immediate controversy. The excellent pre-release demo set expectations high, but the full release isn't actually full. The studio is staggering the 8 episodes, dropping 2 chapters every week until the finale on November 12th. It's confused a lot of players, causing the user rating to dip slightly because they couldn't binge the whole thing immediately. The real hype is the star power. The lead, Robert Robertson, is voiced by Aaron Paul, making his video game debut, backed by a cast featuring critical role heavyweights. For anyone planning a single seamless playthrough of this deep, choice-driven story, waiting until after November 12th is the practical move. That's my list, but now I want to hear yours. What did you play in 2025, and which game do you think deserves the crown this year? Drop your own top in the comments. And if nothing in 2025 impressed you, I've got a video with all the hottest 2026 releases waiting for you. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.